You said some pretty outrageous things. Let me start with what you say about Jews. You blame Jews for destroying white European culture. You suggest keeping Jews separate. And you say Jews have a burning hatred for Europeans and will stop at nothing to drive them into submission. Where'd you learn these ideas?
Well, first and foremost, I think if you just looked and asked the people of Palestine, the people of Lebanon, people all throughout the world that are dealing with international Zionism, they would agree with me on these subjects.
But you hate Muslims and gays and blacks as well.
Well, first and foremost, I don't hate anybody. And second of all, I believe in supporting all nationalist movements around the world. Actually, I just published an article on the website supporting the struggle of the Palestinian people to fight for an independent homeland. So I support all peoples that are fighting for independence, for sovereignty, for their own culture and their own identity. I also support the struggle that's happening in Syria for President Bashar al-Assad to fight for a nationalist government. I support Hezbollah, Hamas, and all Arab groups, that many of them who are Muslim, who are fighting for independence. So I see them as allies in an international war against globalism.
You just want them separate. You don't want to live with them.
I believe that every people deserves to have a sovereign homeland. They should be able to have their own space where their own culture and their own faith, family, and folk can thrive. And that's the belief of nationalism that is shared by most people and groups around the world.
You called Dylan Roof the gunman who massacred people inside that South Carolina church. You call him a victim. Why?
We live in a society now where race cannot be discussed, where whites are actively discriminated against through affirmative action programs, where we see that there are federal government quotas for hiring, for getting government contracts, and whites are openly spit upon in the American mass media.
So that's why you wrap yourself in the Confederate flag.
I am a Southerner. I love my Southern heritage, but I want to get back to the Dylan Roof issue, that what he did was wrong, and I wholeheartedly condemn violence and terrorism as a tool
He's just a victim
of political
in your
action.
mind.
But no, what he did was wrong, and he should face punishment for it. But what we see in America, where more and more white youths don't feel that they have a political future, they don't have an economic future, and socially they're being disenfranchised and will soon be a minority in America, we're going to see more of these situations if we don't start talking about race in America and start trying to solve these problems.
Let me go back to your idea of separating groups. So you've suggested again, blacks go to Detroit, Jews go to New York, gays go to San Francisco. This reminds me of Nazi Germany.
First and foremost, the idea of separatism is all around the world. When India and Pakistan became independent from the British Empire, they swapped populations. So Pakistanis would live in Pakistan and ethnic Indians would live in India. So this is something that is not just in the Third Reich. What we see is people around the world, when they get the opportunity, choose to live around people like themselves. But what we see in the modern day America, that it was just released that President Obama has a racial category list of white communities, that if they're more than 50% white, to use HUD to be able to bring in immigrants, to be able to bring in refugees,
you want all those,
and
you want those communities to be all white, don't you?
What I want to do is be able to support the rights of all communities.
No, don't you want all white communities? I mean, let's be honest about it, okay?
Well, I'm being honest. What I want is every community to be able to have independence. If you're looking at the Black Lives Matter protests, well, I think black communities should have black police officers, prosecutors, lawmakers. Blacks should be able to control their school system. They should be independent for their own people. I want that for my people. I think Hispanics in the Southwest
You're also
should
the
be
same
able to
person
have
who
a society.
described slavery as a good thing because it provided food and shelter to black people, right?
Well, first and foremost, I did not say that.
You did.
My North Carolina chairman, Scott Terry, at a CPAC conference, a panel that was being held about how not to be called a racist, said those comments. But we're not talking about slavery. What we're talking about in 2015 is the fact that the black community now is asking for independence and sovereignty. I say give that to them.
Well,
Just
I'm
give
not
that
sure
to my
that's what
people
they're
as well.
asking for. Other than get attention and spew some of this garbage on television, what else are you trying to do politically?
Well, first and foremost, the creation of the Traditionalist Worker Party is a major step forward to be able to mobilize and activate the white working class to be able to fight against both capitalism and communism.
Who could belong to that group?
Well, anyone can join, because
Jews?
one of the most important parts of the platform...
Can Jews join?
Well, under federal election laws, I believe anyone can join a party, but
would you
Jews
want
already
Jews
have...
to join your group?
I would not. I think that
Why
they, you know... Well, because if you look at politics, the Jewish influence is always nefarious, where you see during the civil rights movement, where the majority of all of the civil rights groups were led and financed by Jews.
How can you make these generalizations about groups of people that you don't even know? I mean, it is the most outrageous for you to make generalizations about people you have no idea what their beliefs are.
We're looking at facts here, and I guarantee you,
we're not looking. We're looking at fantasy is what we're looking at.
No, if the listener, I guarantee if you went to the majority of the listeners and viewers of al-Jazeera in the Middle East and asked them about international Zionism and the Jewish problem, they would wholeheartedly agree with me that what we're seeing now in the Middle East is happening here as well, where Jewish power using money can buy off the Republicans and the Democrats, where they can push things like gay marriage.
That is such garbage, and you've got no evidence.